Okay, Heather, if you have safety glasses at home, it's a good idea to wear those to prevent sawdust from getting in your eyes when you're using the sandpaper. What I've sent home with you are 4 pieces of sandpaper. I've sent you one that is 80 grit, which is going to be the most coarse, and 100 grit. This one has the label still printed on it, 100. This is 100 grit. That's less coarse than the 80, so you would use the 80 first. The lower the number, the more coarse it is. So you want to use the lower number first, and then you build up to the higher numbers to do the more fine detailed sanding. So I sent you an 80, a 100, and then the next one will be 220, which is a higher number, so it's less coarse than the 100. And then finally, I sent you a piece of 320. That's going to be the last one that you use. So I have my wood clamp set up here, and it's holding my piece of wood. You are by all means welcome to just hold your finished piece, and you can go ahead and sand away, hold it, and use 2 hands if you'd like to. Recommend that you try to go in the same direction as the grain of wood. If you can see this particular piece of wood, it's got the circles here, but then it kind of runs up and down. So generally, it's running this direction for the grain of wood. So when I go to sand, I would sand with the grain. You're going to get a smoother finish. When you're starting out, if you have a very rough piece, it doesn't really matter. You can sand in circles till you get it down smooth. But when you get to the final touches, you definitely want to be with the grain of wood. So you're going to start out with the 80 grit, and you're going to sand until you think you can't get it any smoother. So you're going to sand, sand, sand. I have mine clamped here, so I can just sand with one hand. But, excuse me. And you're going to sand, sand until you think you can't get it any smoother. You can't really see it getting any smoother. It seems like you've been sanding a long time, and you probably really do need to sand for a long time. Sanding takes the most time, and a lot of people don't find it to be fun. So a lot of people don't like sanding. That's our least favorite part, but maybe you'll enjoy it. And it does make a mess. So if you're going to be sanding at home, I would recommend not sanding somewhere that you don't want dust to get. So for example, it would be great if you could sand it outside, set up a table outside and have some fresh air. The sawdust can blow around. If you know that it's going to be a carpet that is not particularly, never get anything on this carpet kind of thing, you could always just vacuum it up with a vacuum or a hardwood floor. Make sure you sweep it up, and then probably finish everything with a damp cloth, because the sawdust can get really fine and it gets into things. So don't have your Chromebook open when you're sanding. It'll get down into the keyboards. All right, so you're going to sand, sand, sand with the 80. When you think you can't get it any smoother, you're going to take the 100 grit paper, and you're going to sand, 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 sand until you think you can't get it any smoother. And then you're going to sand the 220, sand, 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 until you think, well, there's no way this can get any smoother than this. And then finally, you're going to sand with the 320. So at the end, your wood should feel like a piece of paper. It should be as smooth as a piece of paper. There should be no grooves, no divots, no holes. If you have any grooves, the image won't stick as smoothly to the wood as you probably would like. And then when you go to remove the backing of the paper, it might take the ink with you and you'll have a little bald spot. So try to get it as smooth and flat as possible. That's why I like to have my wood clamped and try to keep it sanding every location evenly, nice and flat. Don't focus on one little spot, because you're gonna make a little divot. If you want to also, maybe you're not putting your images on there, but you do have a rough spot from where you cut, you can always use your sandpaper. One tip that you could do is if you could put it down, if you had a hole, you can put it down in the hole and go like this. I was going to sand the corners. You can kind of loop, you can bend your sandpaper and you can pull it up and down that way. And it's also fine if you fold the paper and you could go like this and hold it, and then you would be getting both edges at the same time. So just a couple of tips for you. So start out with the 80, then the 100, then the 220, then the 320. You want it as smooth as possible wherever that image is going to go. Wherever the image will not be placed, you just want to get it as smooth as you like it. It doesn't have to be super, super smooth. But wherever the image will be placed, that you definitely want to get down to the 320 grit.